buses continue.
Thank you.
Red button, good one.
Yep, it's on.
Okay, very good, thank you.
We good, we rolling? I'd like to bring the meeting to order, please, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. This is the September 5th, 16, 2025 meeting of the Lake Harbor City Municipal Land Use Board. And in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was provided by posting on the City Hall bulletin board and by notification to our newspapers of record. And I ask Donna to please make this announcement part of the public record. And if you would, roll call, please.
Mr. Timbers?
Present.
Mr. Garth?
Here.
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mrs. Torres? Here. Mr. Molyneux?
Here.
Mr. Frick?
Here.
Mr. McKenna?
Here.
Carol Gola?
Here.
Ryan McGowan?
Here.
And Secretary here.
We have minutes for approval of August 19th. Your motion? Second? Second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. We have two resolutions for final approval tonight. Resolution 2025-9 Jersey Drone, 1401 Raymond Avenue. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, Tom. Please.
Mr. Timbers?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Molyneux?
Yes.
Mr. Frick?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Here. Yes.
We good, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, the resolution 2025-10, which is the recommendation to the city council to adopt an ordinance regarding the redevelopment of the former landfill for solar. Is there a motion? Motion, please.
Motion.
Second? Second. Roll call, Tom, please.
If you weren't at the meeting last week, then I can abstain. Okay, Mr. Timbers?
Wasn't at the meeting, I'm abstaining.
Okay. Mr. Garth?
No.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres? Mrs. Torres?
I'm debating.
Can I interrupt? I'm so sorry, I was typing something about Mr. Darcy's application. What are they voting on?
The resolution?
Okay, so I hate to belabor this point. The resolution, the vote you're taking right now is merely whether or not you agree that the resolution reflects what happened. It's not a vote as to whether or not you agreed with the application or not. So if you voted against the the application last month, that's cool. But the resolution says that. So you can't vote no on the form of the resolution unless you want to put on the record how you think my resolution doesn't reflect what happened. Very different than a vote on the application.
Understood.
Okay, so let's start over.
Okay, for the first one or the second one?
Second one, because we got all yeses for the last
Okay,
one.
all right, so second resolution, Mr. Timbers abstained, Mr. Garth,
I guess it's a yes then.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Molyneux?
Yes.
Mr. Frick?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
I'll move here.
Okay.
Sorry about that, you guys.
Thank you for the
Sure,
clarification.
of course. It's tricky.
Okay, new business application 2025-07, David Rosa, 1401 White Horse Pike. We have Mr. Darcy and the engineer here. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman Peterson, board members. My name is Tom Dorsey. I'm an attorney and surveyor and planner.
I'm representing the DeGrossa family in this application for site plan approval to permit the DeGrossas to put an addition onto their existing automobile repair and service facilities. I'm sure all the board members know the DeGrossa facility. The DeGrossas have been operating there since the early 1970s, pushing up on about 50 years. The site itself even has a longer history. The DeGrossas believe that the building was originally built with the same type of use back in the late 1930s. So the applicant and also the property itself has a long history of an automobile repair and service facility there. We're seeing a couple housekeeping notes. The certificate of filing does not get included with the application. I want to give that to the board administrator so that the board is certain that you have jurisdiction for the applicant hearing tonight. And then also an existing conditions plan that I asked for, and I will provide digital copies for their permit files on that.
And I'm not going to mark these as exhibits, I'm just going to say that they're incorporated into the application.
Here tonight, I have two members of the DeGrossa family, and as applicants, and also our site plan engineer, Andy Schaefer. Would you want to swear us all in at the beginning?
No, I do it separately.
And I'm going to provide some testimony in my capacity as a professional planner on the variances that we need.
Who's going to go first? Do you swear that everything you offer tonight will be the truth?
I do.
No, I do them one at a time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
As you wish.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to give a brief overview and presentation to the board of the existing and proposed conditions plan. Then we're going to briefly go through portions of Ryan's report and try to address some of the issues that he raised. And then if the board has questions for the DeGrossas, they're here. We'll know about their existing operations and what they're proposing to do in the future. They'll be more than glad to come up with that testimony. So the site is located on the Whitehorse Pike at the intersection of New Orleans, the Whitehorse Pike, and Fort. There's an existing two-bay automobile and repair facility on the property. There is also a second floor to that property, which is currently used for storage. The DeGrossas have a used car license from the Motor Vehicle Commission. It's limited. They're only allowed to have 4 used cars displayed on the site. They've had that license for a long extended period also, and they do sell used cars and display them. So we will continue that use in addition to the commercial automobile repair. Both of the uses, both the commercial automobile repair and the used car sales are permitted uses in the highway commercial district. The highway commercial district for an automobile repair facility requires 2 acres. That's a big site for an Egg Harbor City lot right in the inner city itself. The site has 18,000 square feet. The bulk regulations that were established for an automobile repair facility were based on a 2-acre size property, and we only have 18,000 square feet. So you would expect, and it happens, that we have a lot of existing non-conforming bulk issues. We are only requesting 2 variances from the board. One is a setback variance from 14th for the new proposed addition, which I'll go over, and the other is a variance for the number of parking spaces on site. And we'll go into more detail about that. The DeGrossas also will provide some testimony about the adequacy of the parking that they have experienced over the last 50 years that they've been in business, and Ian will provide some technical engineering details about the parking as well. Right now, in addition to the 2 bays that they have inside, they have an additional work bay in the rear of the property, and they have an additional lift on the right side of the building, where they also perform repairs. So even though the building itself only has 2 bays, it traditionally has actually 4 work areas, 4 bays. And what we're proposing is to put a 40 by 44 addition here and create 2 bays so that the bays will no longer be outside, they'll be inside the building. And grocers have been utilizing this area with some outdoor storage of materials and things like that, and again, working on cars in those 2 areas. The intent of the application is to try to get all that inside the building. A couple of reasons: it's tough working outside in the summer, when the heat is up and the humidity and viewpoint is bad, and the grocers are, they're getting up there. It's also difficult in the wintertime to be working outside. So there is a benefit both to the city and to the applicant in having this addition put on. Benefit to the city is that the outdoor storage is going to be significantly reduced or eliminated. Everything will be inside. The advantage to the DeGrosses are being able to work inside, not being subject to the weather as much as they have been in the past, and also, most importantly, security. Getting everything inside the building, locked up with a security system, that is going to discourage vandals or theft, people who want to come in and try to steal materials. So that in and of itself also is a benefit to both. Andy will go over the parking arrangement. The one thing that the grocers would like to have is they currently park in back here, and it's not customer parking. It's parking for the rollback truck and also the tow truck. And typically, that is mostly a passive type of parking space. In other words, at the end of the workday, those 2 vehicles would be parked in the rear of the building. There's an existing privacy fence here, heavily vegetated on the other side. Those ones where the vines have grown up. We're also going to replace the fence and add additional screening there to the residential occupant next door. But those 2 spaces, we would like to keep those in the back for those 2 commercial vehicles. The nature of the business itself, parking is an issue on a small site like this. Now, the nature of the business is that the intent is typically that when the vehicle comes in for service in the morning, it gets worked on and it goes out at night. So there is a very limited number of times that a vehicle will come in, they won't be able to finish it for whatever reason, complication, part not available, and the vehicle will have to stay overnight. But that's a rarity. For the most part, the grocers will tell you that the intent of their business is come in the morning, out at night. So the amount of parking should be viewed from that perspective. That there's really not an intent to have a dozen cars parked in there overnight for the next day's service. They also want to make a couple of changes. The existing surfacing of the driveway in front of the building is blacktop. And in the summertime, it's hot, that stuff heats up, and it's not a good surface to be working with. So the applicant wants to take that blacktop, which is an impervious surface, and replace it with a concrete pad. And that's going to make that area a lot more easy to work with and really viable. Just see here. So I'll just quickly go over the site. Again, I mentioned it's a 2-acre requirement. That would be if you were building a new facility. Again, this site has 18,000 square feet, so that's an existing non-conforming condition. The minimum frontage requirement in the zone is 150 feet. We have 150 feet of frontage on the Whitehorse site, but the side frontages, New Orleans Avenue is 120, and 14th Terrace is also 120. So they are deficient, but again, they are existing non-conforming conditions, and they've existed, for the DeGrosses for 50 years, and with the site being utilized for automobile repair over 80 years. The couple of existing nonconformities on the principal building as it exists. The minimum setback requirement is 50 feet. The existing structure here off of New Queens, which is more of a side yard really than it is a front yard, but that's how your ordinance reads, is 29.6 feet and 50 is required. Again, pre-existing non-conforming condition. The front setback to the White Horse Pike is supposed to be 50 feet. It is 49.3. We're talking about that much deficiency. I would consider that to be minimal. But that again is a pre-existing non-conforming condition. Now the addition here, what we're going to do is we're going to step it back just a little bit so that it complies with the 50-foot setback. So we don't need a variance for that. We do need a variance for the setback for 14. Right now, the setback for 14 is 75 feet from the existing structure. We're putting on a 3-foot addition, so that leaves us with a 35.4 setback to 14 Terrace, where 50 feet is required. And again, I want to reemphasize this. Please keep in mind that those setbacks were established with the idea that you would have a 2-acre lot. So the building envelope on a 2-acre lot with those setbacks would be very, very large. But here, because we only have 18,000 square feet, it causes these non-conforming setbacks. The second variance that we need is a setback to the rear property line here. The rear property line requirement is 50 feet, and the existing building, the existing structure here is only about 25 feet. That space where there's an aluminum cover over a concrete pad, which operates as an outdoor bay, if you will, that's going to be removed, and the setback to the proposed building is going to be 35.6 feet. So we do need a rear yard setback variance. Maximum building height, principal building, we're okay there. It's less than the ordinance requirement of 25 feet or 2.5 stories. The other variance that we need is for parking. Your standard in the ordinance says you need 4 spaces for 1 space per employee. The grocers typically have about 4 employees on site. 1 office, 3 mechanics, and then it's 2 spaces per service bay. So we're going to end up with 4 service bays, so we would need 8 spaces. Andy has designed this in such a way so that the parking doesn't interfere with the aisle circulation. So we only end up with 7 spaces, but we should, in my opinion, count the 2 in the back here also for the roll-off and the other commercial vehicle. So instead of the 12 that we need, we're proposing actually 7. And again, the grocers can provide us some testimony that the existing circulation and the existing parking spaces has served them fairly well, and that they're confident that the addition and the proposed parking arrangement is going to continue to work for them. We are asking for a couple of waivers. One of the waivers that we're asking for is a landscape waiver. The site is located on the White Horse Pike. We've got 2 driveways here, which cuts most of the front wall, and then there's a grass island between the 2 entrance driveways. The DOT have made improvements to the White Horse Pike. They put the handicap ramps in at both New Orleans and also 14th Terrace, but they declined to put a sidewalk along the frontage. And I think the reason for that, I mean, you could probably provide additional testimony, is that there, because of the double driveway here, there wouldn't be a whole lot of sidewalks that they could put in anyway. So the DOT chose not to do that, and if a waiver is necessary, we're asking the board to provide a waiver for a sidewalk along the Lake Plank. There is some landscaping, again, in the front. There's a couple of very nice street trees back here, which, were part of the original street system that was constructed. We're going to preserve those. There's a grass area here, which the applicant is going to continue to maintain. The terrace, there isn't a whole lot we can do there. I don't think that the terrace is paved, but our parking area is going to go here. So there isn't a whole lot of need, I don't think, for landscaping in terms of the buffer. Our commercial use is directly across the street here, so we're not adversely impacting any residential neighbor. In the rear, there's going to be a privacy and security fence replacement, so we're going to be providing a screening there for that adjoining property. So we would ask the board's cooperation in not requiring, a more full and comprehensive landscape package, which, if this was a new site and it was 2 acres in size, then that might be appropriate to require that kind of landscaping again. This is an existing site, and we ask the board's cooperation in that regard. I just want to briefly address the impervious coverage issue that Ryan brought up in his report. Right now, with the buildings, parking lot, blacktop areas, concrete areas, there is approximately 4,125 square feet of impervious area right now. The proposal is to create a total of 3,904 square feet of impervious area. So we're going to be taking out some of the existing blacktop in this area, and in the rear here, taking out this concrete pad in the back, and other stone areas, which were counted as impervious. So we end up with 3,900 ballpark proposed, 4,100 existing. So we're actually reducing the impervious area by a little bit, not a whole lot, but we definitely are not increasing the total amount of impervious area on the site. Now that's important because what that means is we're not generating any new storm water runoff concerns that the board might have, because we're reducing the amount of impervious area. Total land disturbance, we're under 5,000 square feet, which triggers Pinelands and also your code requirement for stormwater management. And in the certificate of filing, when we filed with them, we represented these figures to the Pinelands Commission. They accepted them, and there is no condition in the certificate of filing for any stormwater management facilities, because we're reducing the impervious surface and the total land disturbance is less than the 5,000 square feet. So in my opinion, as a planner, the variances that we need are for a setback to 14th, as I mentioned, the rear setback, that's a bulk variance, and also the proposed parking spaces. And in my opinion, this would be considered a classic hardship condition because the lot exists. There's no additional land that we can purchase. We're surrounded on 3 sides by streets, and there's an existing home on the other side of us. So it creates a hardship in that we're restricted to the area that is currently existing. And it's also under the C2 standard. I believe that the purposes of the municipal land use law are going to get advanced by this. Under Section 2A of the municipal land use law, public safety. And that's an important aspect of this, is by creating this additional 2-bay addition, they're going to be able to get everything that's currently outside of the building and get that inside the building and to be able to secure their site on a daily and nightly basis. So in my opinion, that purpose is being advanced. We're also going to upgrade the site. The proposed two bay facilities here, that will eliminate outside storage. It will keep everything inside. That's going to make the visual impact from the Lakers site much more beneficial than having open area activity areas. I don't see any detriment to the public good. We're in a commercial zone. Uses existing commercial. The used car sale is also existing commercial. There's no residential area that's going to be directly affected by this, except this gentleman here. And again, the DeVoses have been here for almost 50 years, and there's going to remain a nice vegetative fenced buffer in the rear. With respect to the zoning ordinance and master plan, I would consider this to be what we call infill development, and that is where you take an existing site and you upgrade it, and you try to utilize it to the best way that you can, even if variances are necessary. And this is a prime example of that. And I think the important aspect of it is that the two outside bays are already there. So the activity that's taking place has been taking place for 50 years. What we're now doing is we're bringing that inside and getting that out of public view, if you will, and inside the building which can be secured. So in my opinion, the board can certainly feel comfortable granting the variances under both the positive and negative criteria. So, Andy, you want to come up and fill in everything that I missed?
You sure that everything you offered today will be true?
I do.
Put your name and firm on the record.
Andrew Schaefer, firm Schaefer, National Shiny Consultant Engineers.
Less than just before?
Name and,
Firm, you did.
without even knowing. All right, I'm going to simplify this a little bit. I'm not sure why the planner brought another planner in. The engineering part of this is relatively simple. We are reducing slightly the impervious coverage, which negates the process of having to go through stormwater management. And I just want to say to the planner too, that I believe this is a benefit to the community and the surrounding neighbors because it's not an expansion of the business they already have. It's an enclosure of the same, shielding what they already do in the storage of materials from the surrounding neighborhood, organizing it, and then creating some parking, while not enough, in a car lot repair service. What is one of the most confusing things when you go there? Where do I park? Where do I park? And now there is an organized place for people coming to bring the car in to park, rather than trying to negotiate with the other cars that are up on jacks, whatever. So this is clearly a benefit, even though it's an expansion of some non-conforming uses, or not uses, but variances, as well as a setback variance to the proposed building. It's going to be a cleanup and organization of the site as it stands today. We don't want to miss dinner in the Phillies games.
Board members, questions?
I have a question for you. I appreciate the plan, looks good. There's a pile of tires laying where the building would go, that I see where the building would go. So what happens to that pile of tires?
Well, behind the existing building.
Swear in Mr. DeRosa. Sorry, Bob.
Do you swear that everything you offer today will be true?
Yes,
What's your full name
Michael Robert DeRosa,
and address?
569 North 3rd Street. So behind the existing building now, there is a paint spot. This is part of a storage building here. My plan is to put the salvage tires here. They get picked up quarterly, and usually every 2 to 3 months they're gone, and we start another pot.
So tire, management of tires has been something you've been doing all along for years.
Yeah, because generally you can't get a tire company to come pick up 3, 4, 5, a dozen tires at a
Right.
time.
And you're
They want to
behind-
come for a truckload.
And they're behind a 6-foot fence.
Yes.
I like, lawyers don't get to point things out like this very often, but Tom and Andy and I have known each other so long. I like how Andy just slides right into the direct examination role. Who says an engineer needs to go to law school? We just, very nice thing. And Tom doesn't even flinch.
Can I ask where the proposed 7 parking spots are going to be?
So we're showing angled parking here, which is not the best, having to come off of a public right-of-way. But it's better than not having it at all.
So that's where all 7 spots will be?
Can you see?
That's only 3 there. The other 4 on the left side.
On the other side.
On the, it's right, left on
We
the
got
other
1,
side.
2, 3, and 4 are denoted.
Thank you.
That's the 7. I just drove past the building tonight, and currently, I guess it's closed, but there's actually 7 vehicles, I think 4, 5, 6, 7 that were parked at the property right now, and that is before we put the addition on. So that's a lot of spaces that are going to be, and I don't know whose vehicles are parked there, if it's the employees. There was 2 to the left of the building, 4 in the front, I think there was 1 on the side, and that's without having the extra bays. So when you put the 2 more bays, where's the current vehicles going to be?
The testimony earlier was that there are no increase in number of bays. There are already 2 operating bays here. The building's a little bit larger than 2 bays need to operate as a service bay, but there's also room in that building addition for storage that currently takes place outside. So it's a reorganization and a compartmentalizing of what's already taking place.
So the 4 vehicles on the side of the building will be inside the building after it's
There will
built?
be buildings in, yes, buildings. There will be cars inside the building also probably overnight rather than being parked outside. So it'll operate very much the same as it does today, except there are 4 walls around a part of the operation, which helps hide it, reduce noise during the day, so forth and so on, in terms of its impact on the neighborhood.
I live on New Orleans Avenue, so I've been there for 30 years, and I come up to the intersection every single morning. My problem is that it's a used car slot, and we got cars parked on the intersection of New Orleans and Ware's Pike. I can't tell you how many times I have to literally pull out into the pike to see what's coming and almost been hit. So, and we're talking about being a very small frontage. Well, if we put a sidewalk there, again, we will even be smaller. I just think there's a concern, and I'm just looking at your photograph here, and you have 4 cars parked right there on the pike in New Orleans Avenue. Excuse me, 3 cars, and a total over 7 in the photo. I have a concern with that, because I think the lot isn't big enough for what you're planning to do. Because you currently have 7 vehicles on there, you can put 4 additional for sale. So 7, 9, 10, 11, and permitted spaces are 12, and we're only proposed 7. So again, if I just took my vehicle for service probably in the last month to 2 different dealers. Unfortunately, I don't get home till late. So I drop mine off the night before, put it in the drop back. So again, if somebody does that, again, it's additional cars on the lot and they're not even open. So my concern is just the parking, the used car lot, and where are these cars going to be parked? Along the White Horse Pike? I just think there's a concern where the parking needs to be.
What would you say the effect of establishing a site triangle easement between the White Horse Pike and New Orleans Avenue would be?
It would help tremendously to create a site easement, but then it has to be demarcated somehow in the field so that you can't, whether it's a curb or whatever, so that you can't pull a car into that area of a site triangle easement. And I'm sure the board understands what a site triangle easement is in terms of creating or mitigating the system you're talking about right now, eliminating that.
Does anybody need an explanation as to what a site triangle is?
Well, don't we basically have it with the 2 sidewalks that the state already put in?
Well, that's what I'm thinking too, is that the sidewalk is, parking on a sidewalk is something that should be cited, can be cited by the town. So the inclusion of a sidewalk and cars parking on it should be addressed first by them, but if they don't, the city should be able to take action because we can't park on sidewalks.
Well, there's no sidewalk there now.
Well, there's the
There is
extension
at the
from the
corners.
two intersections. There is a section of sidewalk on both 14th
The
and
ramps.
Orleans.
Just a ramps, but there's no sidewalk, yeah.
Is it paved to the curb?
Yes.
So if you're walking on the sidewalk on the other areas, you have to walk out to the pike or walk through the driveway to get to the next sidewalk on New Orleans.
Yes. But you're maintaining that grass area in the front, correct?
On the bike side?
Yes.
Yes.
So that should give you visibility up and down the pike, east and west. I got an aerial photo, you got crosswalk area, you got the curb cut out on each corner. I think that's a pretty natural sight triangle, and the fact that you're not developing anything on the front of the building gives visibility. And I understand your concern, Mr. Ferguson, but if we say no to any of this, nothing changes, they continue operating where they are with the same amount of cars. I don't see a negative impact to doing this, because if we say no, they're gonna continue doing what you're doing now, and we can't stop it, so.
Well, they currently have a non-conforming use, so we're just making a non-conforming use even worse by taking up
I don't
more.
think we're changing the impact, I don't think it's getting worse or better, it's the same impact, same square footage of,
Well, the parking is a concern.
but if we deny this, the parking is still a concern, and we can't do anything about it.
No, we can't go back to them now and tell them, but currently if we're going to approve this, with 7 proposed parking, and they need 12, we're already, it's a non-conforming use, it's just making it even worse.
I have a question on the parking also. The diagonal parking in the alley, why diagonal? I mean, I'm looking at my photo, and it's just showing straight in parking. You get more cars if you went straight in.
True.
Why is that on a diagonal?
You would do
Backing out would
that.
probably be a lot easier with diagonal.
Diagonal parking, one, is easier. Two, it's not as efficient. I will grant you that. However, the space that's left here between the parked cars and the building really isn't sufficient for pedestrian access. It just really isn't. I don't like using angled parking because it always creates other issues. But when you look at the betterment of the site compared to not doing this at all, it's a benefit.
And Andy, if we were to do perpendicular parking spaces pulling in from the alley, people would have to back out into the alley.
Well, they still have to back out, but backing out at right angles into a street that honestly difficult to see. The angle parking, I grew up in a town that had it, does make it easier to see behind you as opposed to straight in.
That's the
It's
benefit.
like filling it down.
The small benefit. Is it the best? No. Is it better than pulled straight in? Yes.
So it's the benefit.
Quick question. Our engineer's report, it talks about a Pineland certificate of filing dated August 23rd, 2024. I guess it was referenced in your paperwork, but however, wasn't included.
He just dropped it off.
Thank you.
We started there. That was
Yeah.
important.
Nobody's mentioned anything about a trash enclosure yet.
That's number 14. It's on there.
I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
Please, go for it. Yeah, me too.
Are you, Mr. Schaefer, any more questions?
I hope so, yes.
Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, so we'll go through my report. I think the applicant did a good job outlining the variances. They really all come down to setbacks. As they indicated, the use, the allowable use envisioned a 2-acre site. They've got less than a quarter of that, so you'd be expecting them to be pushing up against the boundaries as they are. So getting into page 5, which starts the technical review. The discussed concerns with, obviously, with parking, the number of stalls and circulation around the site. It wasn't clear from the review whether this portion was intended to be a drive aisle, with people pulling in here, pulling into the spaces there and exiting here, or it seemed to provide testimony we anticipated to come up with, then backing out into 14th, is that?
Well, again, we have 2 driveways on the White Horse. So yes, this would be access to the rear.
Okay, so that was a question. No discussion of exterior lighting, whether there would be lighting added to the building, what the lighting is now, what the impact of this would be, whether it be an improvement or detriment to lighting on the site. Did you guys look at that at all? Or?
On the existing site, there are 3 utility poles that Lansing Electric has their lamps mounted on them. How many years do you think that they've been there? At least 20 years. So we can show them on the site plan if the board feels that that would be appropriate.
I do own a light meter, so I can actually take readings if that would help.
And that Atlantic Electric, they're the ones that did the proposal to provide lighting they felt would be appropriate for the site.
So based on the proposed building footprint, we don't anticipate any certain negative impacts on lighting in the site?
No.
Right, like it appears to be from the perimeter. Is there any existing building mounted lighting that would be impacted? I think so, or just asking a question. So no existing building mounted lighting?
Building mounted lights, no.
Nothing on that side, certainly. Okay.
Just security light on doors, stuff like that.
Right, nothing shining down on the lot from that side of the building. Okay. Right, so again, getting to the point, there'd be no negative impact on the lighting for the site. We did discuss landscaping. Obviously, the ordinance requires, I believe it's a 5-foot landscape buffer around the perimeter of the site. There's not one now. There's not really a lot of opportunities to add to that. I think to George's point, requesting that along the front would probably do more to impede sight distance than anything else. But that is a requirement of the ordinance, so obviously we have that included here as a concern. Moving to the next page. The stormwater management calculations, I would appreciate if you guys could provide whatever, I'm sure the finance required a little bit more detailed breakdown. I was just trying to go through the numbers. The thing I passed you, in the proposed, Tom, did you say it was 3,904 square feet of total impervious cover in there?
This is the existing.
Okay.
And then this will be the reduction, 241, total disturbance.
Okay, all right, well, I'll take a look through that, but it just wasn't clear based off the information we had and how we arrived there, so.
So what am I putting?
As long as they're less than 1,000 square feet of new impervious cover and less than 5,000 square feet of disturbance, they do not trigger the stormwater management rules. So I just need to confirm that we're under that, because if we're over and we approve it and then Pine freaks out, I don't know, there, so. Okay, so the item 5, I did highlight, I mean, at one point, in some, just browsing through Google Street View images, it appeared there was like up to 20 vehicles on the property at one point in time. Is the applicant's intention to try to limit or reduce the number of vehicles on site, or, I mean, if we're only 7 parking spaces, oh, and it sort of ties into another point we had was, is the rear area behind the building intended to be restored, or is that going to remain a stone parking and storage area?
You said the area behind the building?
Yes.
Section, storage area for the used tires that get picked up periodically. And then in this area here, you would like to have two stone areas where you can park your rollback truck and what's the other one?
Record.
And the record, yeah, for overnight storage there.
Okay, so that rear area would remain
gravel.
stone and gravel, okay. Would the intention be to keep the fence, the existing fence that's there as well? All right, you have to remove a portion of it.
It's gonna be-
It's going to be replaced.
Okay. All right, so that kind of addresses number 5. N6. We talked about historical use of outdoor storage on the site. That's typically not permitted in the zone. It sounds like it's a condition that may, predate that ordinance requirement based on it being garage for the last 50-plus years. But, obviously the board wants to consider, the allowance of outdoor storage there. If it's something they've been doing, allowing them to continue it somewhere is different than allowing an applicant coming in with a new site to store things outdoors, but obviously something to keep in mind. Guys, should we clarify the limits of existing and proposed asphalt? I think having the survey helps to clear that up a bit, so you may be okay there. The widening of the entrance at 14th Terrace, is the existing utility pole going to be totally paved around? If it wasn't clear where the pole ends up being on that proposed plan. Here, right? Well, here, this is sheet 2 we actually submitted. The utility pole is here. We're removing these landscaping timbers in this grass area. So if the intention is to pave this whole area, this will just have asphalt on both sides, and remove the asphalt. So we have a way to protect that utility pole from just being in the middle of the traffic circulation. No.
The only way. Raised sidewalk.
Yeah. Yeah, or bollards or something.
Or bollards, I think, if we could make that a condition, that we administratively look at how we will protect that pole, yes.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any issue with that, I just didn't want it to be in the middle of the asphalt.
I agree.
Okay, glad we're on the same page. We noted that you should include stop bars with the stop signs in the proposed condition. Also
Just
noted.
like,
Okay,
Ryan, I
sorry.
just want to be clear for the resolution, is the pole on the corner of the pike and what?
14th Terrace, it's probably 25 feet off of the Wearers Pike. And it's in the city's right of way, but with the improvements they're proposing, it would be effectively within the right of way, which is You guys see what I'm saying on sheet 2 there?
Yeah.
Okay. The pole-mounted sign is shown as being removed.
That's gonna stay, I'm sorry, I was misunderstanding.
Okay, that's not a problem. You can actually make a little curb island around the utility pole and the sign.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, gives that up. Site lighting we already talked about. Trash and refuse, Jack's favorite. So earlier on page 5, I listed the ordinance requirement for garbage collection and trash enclosures. It's in the landscaping section, so, people miss that once in a while. But the city does have a requirement for a 5-foot tall, with a cap, trash enclosure that is made of fireproof materials. We can see you have a dumpster kind of sitting out there and shown on the plan. So, I think the board would want the applicant to consider constructing a trash enclosure, and would probably even be willing to entertain waivers or variances for setbacks if we got the enclosure, I would imagine. So, that's something to think about.
What is it now?
There's just a roll-off container sitting on the side of 14th Terrace. It's actually shown on the plan, refuse container.
Wow, that's what it's always been. Okay.
Yeah,
Want to
I-
make sure that that's
Yeah, right.
Where it's shown is where it is.
Right, that's, yeah, they show it on the plans exactly where it is. But, you know, we've gone pretty thoroughly after other applicants about trying to get a fireproof trash enclosure. So it, you know, that's a requirement of the ordinance. How do you, I mean, we didn't really get into that, but other than the tires, how do we handle trash and recycling on the site now? Is it stored indoors and taken out to the dumpster, or?
Once a week pickup.
Can we tackle this a little bit more methodically? I mean, I appreciate the worst trading and the comments that it is what it is. But the appropriate way to handle it is, they're here, I understand that there's 2 days and there's gonna be 2 days, I understand that, I'm not trying to make anything more difficult for anybody, but this is an expansion and it's a change. This is the time to get as much compliant as you can, within reason.
Right.
So if we're not gonna do a trash enclosure, we need testimony as to why it can't and won't be.
Right. Well, that's what I say, they're likely, if they're trying to keep it in the same area, it would probably require a setback variance. But I think the board would rather grant a setback variance for a trash enclosure than not have a trash enclosure.
Yeah, but you can't put that on the record and he's gotta stop for it.
Ryan, is the container that I read somewhere that has been removed, or no?
What's that?
The container on New Orleans Avenue?
I mean, it's shown on the plans, the refuse
Right.
container. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not on New Orleans. Oh, yeah, so there's a separate, that, essentially like a back half of a tractor trailer, that
It's
container.
right there on New Orleans.
They're proposing to remove, as part of this application, they're proposing to remove that container.
It certainly makes it more attractive for all the residents next
I
to it.
would imagine so, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't have been there in the first place.
No.
If we can get it out of here, that's good.
If anybody knows Steve Bouchard, he's to join a lot of, and everybody knows he's in the hospital. Shame he's not here.
The dumpster itself, we agree that it doesn't comply with the ordinance. That's another pre-existing non-conforming condition. It's been that way for 50 years. However, we understand that if we're asking the board to approve an upgrade of the site, that we should do some form of upgrade if we can to the dumpster facility. The Bruces are not receptive to a full block fireproof facility that you would normally require if this was a brand new use. That would certainly be appropriate. But again, this use has been there for 50 years. What we can do is that they can fence it in with a portion of the chain link fence that's going to go across the back here. We can, perhaps Amy can work administratively with Ryan to show where the fencing is going to go and how the trash dumpster would be enclosed within that. But we would ask the board's cooperation in not requiring the full compliant block structure for a dumpster that's been there for 50 years.
So they put a enclosure at the liquor store just recently. I don't, maybe the size of a block, I don't remember, but the front of it is fenced that is not appropriate. I don't know how it got like that. It should have been blinded, but listen, I understand that the business has been there all this time, but as Carol said, you know, this is our only chance to bring it up to the standard that we have been following with all the other applications in town, and we believe very strongly that these trash enclosures are necessary to be detailed on the plan, and this is where it's going to be, because we don't know the future brings, and if the grocers decide to sell this, because they run a clean operation, you know, there's never, it doesn't look like some places in town. So we understand that, you know, that they will continue to maintain their property because they've got a good business going on there. But in the future, if it's sold, we don't know what's going to happen, and if we haven't provided a place for that to exist and called out on a plan, should a new owner, and these are all what-ifs, but it happens because it happened to the liquor store, and the new owner didn't have the enclosure there. They were required to have the enclosure there, but they didn't know that they were supposed to do it because of the new owner. We don't want the trash like some places where it's blowing around. I particularly don't care what you make it out of, as long as you can't see it from the street. And that it's easy to get opened up where you can get a truck in there to get it out. I just want to, you know, out of the public view. It is, however we do that, the materials, construction or whatever, I would leave it to the engineers and the city engineer to decide what would be the best and easiest way to do that. And I think that we can come up with a compromise.
The applicant is agreeable to work with you and the engineer and the board on that, Mr. Chairman.
What is the concrete behind the building? What is that going to be used for? It looks like it's basically a sidewalk on the back of your building there. What is it? It says proposed concrete. Looks like it's 3-4 feet wide on the back.
It's just an access sidewalk around the building.
If you could push a dumpster up against that, put a chain link fence up against the side of the building, then you just roll it out once a week when they pick it up, push it back. I don't know if that would impede on your trying to put your trucks there. It might be
We can look at that.
It might be an easy solution.
Right, we can look at the location and the type of enclosure.
Okay. Everyone satisfied with number 14? So item 15 on our list was sidewalk, as was discussed previously. I think part of the motivation for DOT not adding additional sidewalk was they got to 4,960 square feet of new impervious cover, and so they stopped. Otherwise, they would need a permit from the Finance Commission. But I think one of the other board members at one point mentioned it's one of the few spots along Route 30 that does not have sidewalk at this point. You know, the driveways, for all intents and purposes, provide that access, but the grass median in between kind of cuts it off and either forces people in your sight or walk through the grass. So if you'd like a waiver for that, I think you'd have to request a waiver. I believe that would be required as part of the application.
Currently, pedestrian, people that are walking down there, there's no room between the paved curbs of the Wayhorse Pike in this section. The drive lanes go right up to the curb line. So if a pedestrian is walking down the street, they just move over from the grass and walk through the blacktop driveway. And the grocers don't really have any problem with someone, I mean, technically they're trespassing, but the grocers don't have any problem at all with someone doing that.
Right. Functionally, there's a pathway there, as long as they just kind of go around and walk along the edge of the grass. Understood. But I do think that the board would need to consider that a waiver from the requirement to construct sidewalk.
So where does that fall, out of curiosity, if the state doesn't deem it necessary when they're doing all this work? Whose responsibility on it at that point? If the state denies it, they get to walk away whenever they want.
Yeah.
But then the
it's-
residents don't.
It's the same with the municipality. If we go reconstruct a street, we don't have to replace any of the sidewalk. If there's no sidewalk, we don't have to add sidewalk. But when somebody builds a new house on a lot that fronts that street, they gotta build sidewalk. So it's sort of similar to that situation.
Well, they're required to build a sidewalk, but in the last 25 years, this has bounced all over the universe about sidewalks and back to city council and back to the land use board or whatever.
Sure.
It's tiring.
Understood.
Ping pong ball.
The gas station right next door has the same situation. They have a planner.
Right, right, and where the
So
sidewalk
for
would
the,
be.
towards that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is sort of farther in town. This is not the area where people are walking as much as, closer to the downtown area. But again, technically it require a waiver. I'm not saying you shouldn't give that waiver, but that's all. It's just, we should indicate that is a waiver for the requirement for sidewalk. So the last thing I had on my letter was the applicant should discuss whether and where vehicles would be proposed to be displayed for sale. I think as is shown on the aerial photograph, at least occasionally you park them sort of blocking one of the exit drives on the front of the site. Is there intent to have a dedicated area to display vehicles for sale?
When the state came in to do the inspection of the facility, they were the ones that said that it should be in the lower left-hand corner there at the Pike and Maryland's Avenue. So that's probably why you experienced that when you come down.
Well, actually, the ones in the photo are parked in their entrance off the Whitehorse Pike. You can't get in there. So they're parked literally in the entrance, which makes it very difficult for anybody going out to see. So that's just a concern for public safety.
I think what we do is taking into consideration George's concern about segments of road there at that corner. We can designate a site triangle right there, and they're prohibiting parking within that. But that area generally, how many cars can you see?
Just so you know, one of my jobs is to make sure the recording makes sense. We need to have one person talking at a time and clearly.
Sorry.
No, it's not you, Tom.
A site triangle with a painted island. Yeah. About the best we can do, because otherwise it'll block the driveway. Permanent. We'll do that.
Just quick point of clarity. I already referenced the state instructed to place vehicles there. Is that the state DOT or the state motor vehicle commission? Or? Okay. So, okay.
Is that the site triangle that's gonna be delineated, that's on the corner of the White Horse Pike and?
New Orleans.
So that'll be a site triangle in favor of New Orleans Avenue and the White Horse Pike.
Yes.
And it'll impinge upon the site to some degree, our site to some degree.
Shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so that's all that I had for my letter. In the recommendation section, we sort of discussed that the board has the ability to grant the requested C variances. I did have a note in here that we needed to confirm that the proposed impervious cover did not exceed 1,000 square feet and that there was not 5,000 square feet or more of disturbance, because that would change the whole requirement for storm management. So it sounds like I have some documentation here, so I'll confirm that administratively, but it sounds like we're okay there. So, Otherwise, that's all I have.
Any other questions from the board? Anyone from the public wish to comment on this application? Go ahead. Just identify yourself. please.
Nanette Galloway, Buffalo Avenue.
I'm sorry?
Nanette Galloway. What is on the left-hand side of the shaded area there?
Which one? The shaded
Yeah, that
area?
area. Yeah, what's that?
This is New Orleans Avenue.
Uh-huh.
This is what we would call the sidewalk area, between the curb and the.
Is there a sidewalk there?
There's no sidewalk there presently, a couple street trees.
There's no sidewalk at all?
No.
On that side of your property? And then on the right-hand side, the parking area, there's no curb there, right? You just pull in?
Yeah, no curb or sidewalk in the alley there. That's correct.
And I'm looking at a picture here of the back of the building. There's a canopy there, like an aluminum canopy?
Yeah,
That's coming out?
That's coming in.
And there's fence, and there's a whole bunch of junk, and there's a trash receptacle outside the fence?
Yeah, we're gonna work with the engineer so that that's not visible from the street.
The only concerns I have about the application is that I'm concerned that there's no sidewalk and a family walking down the street, and it's happening more and more these days. There's nowhere for somebody to walk other than in the parking lot, where he's gonna have a lot of cars parked, might not be room, you're gonna have to go beyond the cars into where he's actually working. So I think there's that little strip of grass, take it out, put sidewalk in. That's what I think would be a benefit to the community. I think there should be a sidewalk on, what street is that, north side? Should be a sidewalk there, so, because that's the pretty side of the property. Terrace is concerning to me, because it's an alley, it's like that all over town. But the street side, I think should be improved, and then, that's what I'm concerned about, and the sidewalk along the pipe. Is there anything else here? I think that's it. And the tires. Three mosquitoes, if they're collecting there and there's a big pile of them. Is there any way that that can be like shared with another business and maybe move the tires off site to another property?
Practical for this business. You agree? It's really neat.
Would you be willing to put a storage container there to store these tires so they're not visible? I mean, because then you're back to the same
Well, I'm
situation you
concerned
already
about
have.
the water getting, and
I'll
then
tell you
it
what I
becomes
can.
mosquito breeding
I
ground.
have that aluminum canopy. I'll be more than happy to cut the height of it down and put the used disposable tires under that to keep water from getting them.
So, Dan, I just want to say one thing. You've got another tire business in town that the tires are out in the pike
All the time.
all the time. So-
It's
And I know it's not right either way, but these folks have demonstrated the last 30 years that they run a good operation. I don't expect that to change.
Several times over the years. I know he does good work.
Tires are a problem. Whether you restore them, whatever you want to do them, the guy only picks them up like Mr. DeGroza said, maybe once a month if he rides by and sees you got a pile of them, he'll pick them up. But it's a problem, and it's a problem, I don't know how to tell you, to fix it any better than what you're doing right now.
Well, the tires will be behind the fence irregardless, right?
As they've been.
Oh, and there was one other thing in one of the pictures. Is there a trailer, a trailer on the left-hand side of the building
Yes, that's going to be removed.
that will be removed?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, just identify yourself, please.
Kim Hesse, 236 New Orleans Avenue. I just want to first say thank you very much for fixing up your property. Appreciate it. I mean, although it keep it well. But my concern is New Orleans Avenue, where you say, I believe there's 4 parking spaces, are they going to have to back out as well onto New Orleans Avenue? Is that what they're going to do like they are in the terrace?
No, they're configured to the parking lot.
They're on the site. So they're on the site, so they're not backing, that's a green area over there, so they're not parking in the green area along the Rollins Avenue.
So it isn't going to be
No, we're not
like
taking
that?
that.
Oh,
we're not
okay, I
taking-
thought it was the same as on.
No, we're not taking the green area away.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. And the other thing, I just wanted to, see George's point over there. It is hard saying when you're coming out of New Orleans, I'm sure you guys know, you probably had to deal with that all along. I appreciate doing the site triangle, we really, really need that. And the main reason is there's no shoulder, as we all know. So that is what really, really hurts us, and it's scary. Like, my husband won't even pull out of our street because of that sort of thing. So, I mean, we really do have to be conscious of that, for sure. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public? Thank you, ladies. Any further comments, questions from the board?
The fence that borders the property, did I hear you say you're going to replace that with a new fence? Was that part of the plan?
That's the plan.
Okay, Ms. Bullock, can you?
If somebody wants to make a motion to grant the application, granting the waivers with regard to parking, site plan, and landscaping, and granting the setback variances with all of the terms and conditions that you put on the record tonight and that I diligently typed up.
I'll make that motion and, I'll just add to it that the problem with the trash container, that whatever the customer and Ryan work out, the board accepts.
I'll second.
So, before we do that, let me just ask one more question. Are we going with the sidewalk in the front? Or are we sticking with what we had in the front, the grass? Because that was brought up tonight, so was that considered as a?
Asking for a waiver for the sidewalk.
The waiver,
Okay, you're still asking for the waiver.
that's staying the same.
So it remains as it is, as is.
Is it too late for me to ask? I forgot one thing I wanted to ask. Is it too late? It just had to do with the landscaping around.
Ms. Bullock, can you answer that?
I think that's a chair call.
Okay.
Punting that right back to you.
Thanks for backing me up.
You're welcome. Listen, I am literally.
Go ahead, Kim. Go ahead.
Just, all I wanted to bring up was, I know you said you were going to leave the sign. Is there any way you could, since we are taking out different landscaping, put something around that sign to make it, your landscaping there? Did you say there was going to be a sign there and you were going to put something around it?
There's an existing sign there next to a pole, and we need to protect the pole, so we will come up with something that'll do that.
I was just going to ask if it can be the landscaping, a little bit of landscaping.
Let me explain what they're talking about. There's a pole that's going to be exposed more than it is right now. They're talking about putting something around it to protect it. Flowers are not going to protect it.
All right, so we had a motion and a second, and there was some discussion. Is there any further discussion before we have a roll call? Okay, Donna, roll call, please.
Mr. Gardner first, and then Mr. Miller, second. Mr. Timbers?
Yes.
Mr. Guard?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Torres?
Yes.
Mr. Molyneux?
Yes.
Mr. Frick?
No.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Good luck.
You know what I?
moving right along in the old business, council report. Mr. Chair. Public comments? Questions, comments, board?
I have a couple questions. So both our professionals were out last month, and I brought up a question, and I confused with the answer I was given, so I'm asking again. Last month, we had a client come in who's already
Is this directed to me? I'm sorry, did you say the professionals were out?
professional, that would be.
Oh, you mean me and Ryan were here? You had
Yes.
somebody else and you had Rachel?
Yes.
What's your question?
So last month, we had the marijuana grow guys come in from the Duncan Park, which is already zoned
Jersey
for
Grove.
for appropriate use. It's already zoned for that use. Meeting the zoning requirement. Why wasn't that approved at the zoning official level? Why did it come in front of us?
Can I handle this?
Please.
Okay. So, when they came, you know the site, right? It's got a building, a building, a building, right? Are we on the same page?
Oh, we're on it.
Okay. They came in for site plan approval and all of the little approvals that go with that for one building. And then they seeped into another. People found out about it, so they had to come back. You can't come in and say, I would like to buy one legal pad, and on your way out of CVS, you grab the whole packet.
I'm not disputing that. The-
Okay. Because I thought that's what was said last
It's
month.
already a zoned location.
It has nothing to do with zoning, it has to do with site plan approval and the city knowing what's going in, what's going on, and to what extent.
So can I tack onto that a little bit?
Sure.
So all cannabis uses in Egg Harbor City are conditional uses. In the industrial zone, all of them are they're permitted, but essentially the condition is there's three conditions. You have to have a license, I don't remember what that was, but you have to come to the board for approval. So if you have a cannabis use, even if you're just going into an existing building, you have to come to the board. That is a
Even though
condition.
it's an already approved zoning area for that.
Correct. You don't need a use variance, but you have to appear at the board. You have to discuss your hours of operation. You have to
And
discuss,
is that for just cannabis or?
it's all cannabis-related
Okay,
uses.
so if somebody else went in the industrial park to do a industrial type product,
Yeah,
they wouldn't need to.
yeah. If a plumber was in one suite and he took over 2 more suites, have at it.
Okay.
We don't care.
Well, that clarifies it, why
Yep.
there was a
But
special.
not necessarily.
Well, so that building or that site had prior approval to have industrial uses in those suites. So as long as it's consistent with the approved uses from that prior one, it doesn't matter who's in
But they
which one.
still have to tell you, as the engineer,
Correct.
what they're gonna be doing, so you can make the determination.
Right, they have to get the
Is it
zoning-
like enough?
Yes.
So that you don't have the opportunity?
100%.
Is there enough parking? Are the hours such that maybe lighting needs to change because there wasn't? All the things that we talk about
Right.
when we talk about site plan.
But yeah, if it was a plumber who had crept into the other ones, he would have to submit a zoning application and a mercantile license and all that, but he would not have had to come back to the board.
Right, and then the other question is, Rick's Power Plus,
Mhm.
that's for sale. That's a city-owned property now?
The city foreclosed on it 2 years ago, something like that. I believe it was for sale. Originally, it went up for auction. I don't think it sold when it went up. I don't recall if the city sold it at the last meeting. Do you, Carl?
I'm sure.
I'm the realtor that's handling
Was that
that.
ever advertised?
Well, there you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
twice.
It was, and then it goes to a realtor, and then it went out for the
Yeah.
market. So we had 3 offers in, and we chose the best one. So it's in the process, it's under contract right now, it's probably going to be closing within 45 days.
And then this last one's for you, Ryan. It seems like every year when the city gets the permit to drain the swimming side of the lake,
Mhm.
the other side of the lake goes down with it.
So what I was told.
Because
Oh, gotcha, sorry.
Oh, okay.
the pressure-treated boards that work as a
Stop
quasi dam
Mhm.
aren't there.
Right.
So before the weather changes, the city gets fined by DEP and or Fish and Wildlife for allowing that side to drain. Make a recommendation that somebody fix that problem this year.
So I'll bring that up to the new city administrator and public works director. I will tell you that the county, when they do their project, because they're replacing that bridge, supposedly they're going to start that project in January. Supposedly during that project, we will not have control to separate the water level of the 2 sides. So their intent is to start in January and work a full year, and then we'll drain the lake after their project is completed. So that, but during that project, we won't be able to lower one side and maintain the other. Whatever one side is, the other will be, because those stop logs won't be there for the duration
Well,
of the
the only way to
project.
maintain it is don't the dam up on the swimming side.
Correct. Yep, that's the plan. We had a meeting with the county and CME, the design consultant for the bike path, and French and Perillo.
So I'll bring it up
Bridge.
because a lot of money has been spent over the last 10 years to stock that lake.
The upper portion, yep.
And it's pretty ignorant. It's been brought to the city's attention for 3 years. It's pretty ignorant that somebody has it in their head that the fish is what pollutes water. So if it happens again, I'll go on the record, I'll be the first one to make the phone call. The city needs to do the job the right way. And I'm bringing it to your attention to make sure the city and the county maintains that side of the lake the right way.
Yep, I'm gonna email Jerry now.
So can I ask a question? Why do we drain the lake every year? I don't remember.
Vegetation control primarily, because if you drain it for a month and just let it sit there and freeze, all the algae, all the growth, all the vegetation dies. And then when you refill the lake, the swimming area is not filled with vegetation. That's the
So
primary.
is that a requirement or?
No, the city has a permit to do that, so we can maintain the lake. I mean, I'll be frank, I have no involvement with the permit or the draining or any of that. Usually I find out when somebody tells me, but like I said, I'll convey
When I was a
that.
kid, they never drained the lake.
The permit is for the swimming side.
Yes,
Not the
They-
other
they
side.
drain
Yeah,
the
the
lake,
intention is
they
not
never
to drain the
drain-
upper side, they just
never
haven't done
drain
the
that
maintenance
Efficiently put that lake.
on the top side. Yeah, I remember you mentioned.
But we used to ice skate on, so they never drained it.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, we used to go down there and fill up every bottle of Coke with tadpoles and run through there and on the swimming side. But the non-swimming side, the cabin side, that never got drained, ever.
So is the city going in there and doing something with the vegetation, or this is just a natural process that when they expose it to the air, that the vegetation dies?
It freezes.
Yeah, I don't know if they go in and remove it. Like I said, I've had no part, I've never seen them.
I drive that every day on the way home, so when they drain it, the frost,
Yeah, it kills the vegetation, right?
it doesn't kill it, it stunts it at its growth. And by the time the summer is over, it may have grown back a little bit. And each year, if they do that on the swimming side, they can keep a nice area where you're not swimming through seaweed. That's a 100% understandable approach. Problem is, for a couple cost of boards, you're allowing the other side to go.
Understood.
And my other pet peeve, I'll bring it up again, we had another customer come in tonight asking for some waivers on sidewalks and some waivers on vegetation and trees. I don't know why I keep bringing it up, but I will. We don't have an ordinance that says if you're asking for a waiver, a small portion of what that cost would be goes into a fund, so the city can use that to fund other projects throughout the city, like every other advanced town in this state has.
Let me ask you something. Do you go to the city, the council meetings and say those things?
No, I say it here. And we
No,
have council.
I'm not trying to get you
We have
aggravated, John.
Council and mayor, I've emailed these zoning ordinances from other towns to the city, and they take no action on it. I don't know why.
But John, I promise, I'm not trying to aggravate you, because I see your blood pressure rising, right?
But it's not blood pressure, it's
Let me
frustrating is what it is.
I'm begging you.
So
I got in my car at 7:15, I spent all day in court up north, and then I drive here to serve you guys. I'm not trying to aggravate you. So let me finish.
Go ahead, I'm not interrupting you. You make a grandstand, I'll do the same thing.
Say that again?
All right, so you're gonna make a grandstand, I'll do the same.
No, I'm just
explain it, please. Don't patronize me.
If you come to the meeting.
John, what she's trying to say is that this is a council decision, not something.
I understand it. I understand it, but we have lots of people in the room.
You would be one voice amongst many that disagree. That's exactly what Annette dealt with like a couple months ago. She wanted to do a program similar to that, and people flooded in, and they were like, no.
It was two people.
Well, he'd be one amongst three. He'd still be outnumbered.
Okay, any further discussion? Motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor,
I
please say aye.
second, Donna, I second it.
Thank you.
They were allowed to use that.
don't make me put that.
It was two people.
See you guys later.
Well, ever.
Bye.